And welcome back to the Educated Ignorance podcast right here on the For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network. I am Joe Winkle. Want to thank everybody hanging out with us here. This is a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday afternoon, early evening. We had some crazy storms this morning for here in the Quad Cities, but we are powering through. It is sunny outside. The lights are shining bright, and we are ready to rock. Housekeeping notes before we get any further. First off, you see up here in the corner, please go take a gander, go peek, go be extravagant and mosey upon our social media platforms on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and of course, our good friends at the artist formerly known as Twitter. We really, really appreciate it. We posted some polls today to kind of get your feel on some of the stuff that happened yesterday. And, you know, we would really we would let me here you go. So we really hope that you appreciate it and go hang out, go interact, go do all that stuff. Also, like this video, we really appreciate that as well. And interact in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on what transpired yesterday. As you can see in the title, we're going to talk about what happened last night. We're going to also preview tonight's game ones and round two officially in full force after tonight. Boston, Cleveland, and Oklahoma City and Dallas. Those two games should be fun and interesting. We'll talk about those at the tail end. No producer Danny today. He is he survived attack of the forklifts today at work, so we hope that he is all right and feeling better. But he is at home, being taken care of by his significant other. We pray for her, definitely. And outside of that, we will be rocking and rolling. Again, no show tomorrow, but we will be back on Thursday and Friday for a couple big days ahead. All right, let's get into it. Let's final thing here. Want to thank everybody for, of course, hanging out. And remind everybody that we, as always, are powered by our friends over at Beat the Book. Want a space where you can interact with pro bettors? Beat the Book, it's the app for you. Beat the Book is a social media betting app where you can follow your favorite cappers and even get all of their picks set directly to your phone. Download Beat the Book today and follow us at the link down in the comments section. I will go ahead and post that there. Go check it out. Go see what we're doing over on Beat the Book. It is some good stuff as always. We post our locks of the day all the time over there, and we've been on quite the run as of late. So want to go over there, check it out, get in on the action with us. All right, let's talk some basketball. We're going to talk about the thing second, because I want to show some respect to the team who every game they play is, as we talked about yesterday, it was like doing crack in Harlem in the 1990s. The New York Knicks, the team that can never play a bad game, played another barn burner last night, and there are some things that I want to get to that really kind of struck my nerve. We're gonna be very negative at this portion of the podcast. We're gonna then praise certain people from this game, and then we are going to go on a massive deep dive of what happened last night in the other game and how it happened. So just want to warn you on the order of operations for this show. Let's start with this. The Knicks last night did get a win, 121-117. Jalen Brunson once again was just superb. He was phenomenal. 20-plus points in the fourth quarter. Josh Hart is a maniac. Deontay DiVincenzo back in full effect, making huge shots. The Knicks were awesome. They probably shouldn't have won. And I hate to be the guy. Okay, I'm on two sides. There are times where I'm like, listen, the officials making a certain call did not, usually it did not affect the outcome of the game. But last night, Knicks Pacers, game one, I think was affected and the outcome was changed because of the officiating. There are a multitude of plays that lead to this. Let's start with this one. I think the score at this time is 113 with about a minute and a half to go. Tyrese Halliburton gets called for a foul on a reach-in. Jalen Brunson does a pick and roll. He snake dribbles around the screener. He drives towards the middle of the lane from the left wing, and Tyrese Halliburton digs and knocks the ball away. The refs call a foul. I understand that that's something that gets called more times than not, but here's why this is the first, portion of this. The ball immediately goes off of Ryan Nebhard's leg and into the hands of Miles Turner, and it was going to be a 3, maybe 4-on-2 fast break with 2 guys for New York under the basket and Jalen Brunson on the ground. There's no resistance against the Pacers fast break in a tie game with 90 seconds left. Now, I understand that the Pacers did have a 113 lead with less than a minute to go. I understand that. I'm just saying, let me try to make sure exactly when they did call this. So it's 113 all. That is correct. I knew I was right. They do end up getting the ball back. And Nembhard does make a runner on that end. So you can say in a way that doesn't really count. I just want to note that the Pacers did lose their timeout, I believe, on this play. Or was it no, they lost their timeout on the second one. So they wouldn't have had to lose their timeout with less than 20 seconds to go if they don't have to make this challenge. Because on the second challenge, no matter what, you lose your timeout. They had 2 timeouts left. They burn a timeout here for the challenge. They win it. They then have 1 timeout left when they challenge later. We'll talk about that. They then lose it. And with everything that happens, pretty much the game is then over. Okay, so Nembhard hits a layup. Brunson hits a little pull-up jumper with minute 14 to go. All, woota-woota. Down the floor again, Nembhard forced, I thought, a jumper. He missed it. All right, we go now under a minute to go. This is the one that pisses me off, honestly, more than the play we'll talk about that everyone's head was spinning at. Jalen Brunson is pressured at half court. The Pacers did a great job of just riding his hip all game. The problem is, though, Jalen Brunson is a freak, and most of it didn't affect him throughout the night. He was able to kind of roll with the punches, go through everything, and he continued to score at will in the fourth quarter. But regardless, the Pacers did a lot of stuff that I liked in this game. They're pressuring Brunson up high. They got him guarded at half court. Brunson comes off a screen. He then throws, which, by the way, on this play, Dante DiVincenzo, go back and watch, basically wraps up Aaron Nesmith's arm and chucks him. No call. Save that for later. Then when Brunson comes off the screen, he throws a pocket pass trying to roll, or kind of tries to throw a little roller bounce pass to DiVincenzo. Aaron Nesmith knocks the ball away. They call a kicked ball. There's 2 problems here. First off, the ball never came close to hitting his foot or shin. It hit him in the hand. And 2, you cannot challenge this. This is 50 seconds left in a playoff game. First off, why this isn't challengeable, I don't know. That will certainly be changed. And the second thing is another opportunity for a Pacers live ball turnover, a team that loves to live in transition, has a chance to get a steal and get a run out with 3 guys for the Knicks below the break, and it would have been a 3, maybe 4-on-2 for Indiana the other way. Instead, they call a kicked ball, and what happens? The next play, right out of the timeout, Brunson isolation up top. Nesmith kind of hedges a little bit too much. He throws it to DiVincenzo, who shoots it from long range, and he nails it. Credit to them for making the shot. My problem is there's two opportunities for Indiana that are taken away by bad calls. One of them is not challengeable. The other, they had to burn a challenge, which then meant another challenge that they had to burn later, which they shouldn't have had to use that one either way because it was clear as shit that the ball went off of Brunson last. The Pacers were robbed of multiple opportunities to get in transition, and a kicked ball that was not a kick ball, it wasn't even close to a kick ball, would have spurred an opportunity for Indiana on the run, leads to the next fucking play, the game-winning shot. That's what bugs me the most. And then, of course, the play at the end that everyone's losing their minds about, which I would too, because it was not. They called the moving screen on Miles Turner. The first thing that I saw a couple people say was it reminded them of the UConn-Iowa women's game in the Final Four. Not that one isn't even close to the same thing. In that game, I think it was Gabby Marshall. She was defending Beckers. The UConn player was at like the free throw line, slides all the way to the top of the key to make the screen, to set the screen moving. Miles Turner is moving, but he's moving towards the player. He's not moving side to side. And Halliburton runs, I think it was Brunson or probably DiVincenzo, maybe Hart, I don't remember. He runs the defender into Turner. Even, it's almost by like, it's not what, listen, we've watched, obviously, the Hampton, or the Death Lineup Warriors, where you have Andre Iguodala and Draymond Green and Andrew Bogut out there basically putting people in the Cobra clutch in screens. I mean, we've seen Marcin Gortat and Anderson Varejao have screens named after them, whether legal or not legal. Who really knows? We've seen illegal screens in the NBA. We saw Dante DiVincenzo pretty much commit one 2 possessions ago that did not get called, and no one batted an eye. The fact that this got called isn't really a Pacers getting screwed issue, like, in my opinion, the other 2 instances are, because it took away, like, Halliburton comes off that screen, who knows what happens? He pulls for a 3, he makes it. He could pull for a 3, he misses. He drives and dishes, and it's a turnover. He drives and dishes, and it's a make. Who knows what happens? And who knows what happens on the potential transition runouts for Indiana? I'm just saying those are live ball opportunities for a team that lives in transition that were taken away because of egregious bad calls. Halliburton never fouled Brunson, and that was never close to a kickball. And the worst thing about the kickball is they can't challenge the kickball, and the next play after the timeout is the Knicks hitting the game-winning shot. This one here is just bad, mainly because we have an epidemic in the league where, yes, I credit the league office and the rules and the officiating for how they have changed the way the game is being played the last half of the season and how physical they allow it to be, because it's better. The games are better. The games are more intense, and the games have more of a feel to it and a flow to it. Really, you would think it's always fouling. Like, no, they're not calling fouls. They're not rewarding guys who foul hunt. You still have it at times, but it's not egregious like it used to be. In this situation, this is a problem with these NBA refs at times where they feel like they are there to blow the whistle. That is the problem we have in some of these games. On a call like that, the official is it's like the technical foul that Anthony Edwards got hit with in game 1 against Reggie Jackson. The official was looking at them when Anthony Edwards hits the shot, and Edwards stares down Reggie Jackson. That referee sat there, stared at that, and thought to himself, my job here is to blow this whistle and call this technical foul. No, dumbass, it's not your job. The guy who called that moving screen last night, he thought his job was just to blow the whistle, because that's what his job is. No, your job is to officiate the game in a sound way, in an effective way, in an efficient way. Like, these big moments, these officials think that they need to intervene. And that's the problem that we have, that this league, and listen, for all of its amazingness, we still have these insanely just gigantic warts that they cannot get out of the way of themselves. Am I sitting here being a Knicks hater? You can call me that, sure, because I'm bitching and moaning that the Knicks, listen, this is the second time that they have gotten kind of calls to go their way. I wasn't mad about the Sixers game 2 thing. I wasn't. I thought that was mainly like, yeah, Maxey got fouled, then they didn't call it, but I thought mainly that, like, call timeout before you even get into that position and advance the ball. Like 80, 90, 85 to 90% of teams do it. Smart teams do it. The Sixers are a dumbass team. They didn't do it. The Pacers would have done it. The Knicks would have done it. Almost every team left in the NBA would have done it. The Sixers didn't. They turned it over. They didn't grab the rebound. DiVincenzo won game 2, et cetera, et cetera. In this situation, though, it's so egregious and so bad because of what it took away. And also, listen, there were moments in this game where both teams were affected by horseshit officiating. Like, there were like 4 possessions in a row, or 4 out of like 5 or 6 possessions at the end of the beginning of the fourth quarter, where like the Pacers just kind of had guys slip and fall, and they called fouls on the Knicks. DiVincenzo actually got hit with a terrible moving screen call in the third quarter. Like, there are moments in this game where both teams got the shaft. It needs to be just because a guy hits the floor doesn't mean it's a foul. The moving screen thing is wild because I thought Halliburton actually set it up perfectly. And yes, Turner is moving up, but he's not sliding, which is when I think that's actually an egregious foul. Like, it's wild. And then you have Knicks fans on Twitter just like, yeah, that was the right call by letter of the law, but they let so much go. No, it wasn't the right call. That was a legal screen. I don't give a shit. Like, it's insane that people even defended that one because that was terrible. That was one of the worst calls I've ever seen. And that's the one I'm not even the most mad about. I'm mad that they missed the kick ball and they called the foul on Halliburton because it screwed up. They had to challenge. And then, like, they forced that turnover. So it's 118-115. The Pacers get a layup. The Knicks are trying to bring it up. They almost turn it over. They don't. They call timeout to advance the ball. Then Brunson is doubled at half court while falling out of bounds, throws it off Halliburton. It clearly goes off Brunson with a referee staring at the fucking ball, and he says it's Knicks ball, which means then the Pacers have to burn another timeout for a challenge. And that timeout, they automatically lose. It's like operational stuff mixed with why are you interjecting yourself in these moments? It blows my mind. Okay. All that to say, congrats, Knicks. Good win. Some positive notes on this game. Jalen Brunson was, again, incredible. I thought they did listen, I'm going to be interested to see if they continue to let Ryan Nembhard be on an island against him. Like, we're at the point with Brunson where why not just listen, I know that would cause problems potentially with getting beat on the glass, but why not just throw 2 guys? Listen, and the Pacers have this potential to do it, but why not just throw 2 guys at him and blitz him and see what happens? I don't know. You got to try something. I feel like the Pacers their formula was good. I like how they were pressuring full court. I like how they did randomly at times just kind of blitz. Like, they played like a up-tempo college team. That's how they have to play because they're not as good as the Knicks just whistle to whistle. They have to make it a bit junky. And I thought they did that. The problem now for Indiana is you basically have to win 5 games out of 7. And I don't know. I think they lost the series last night. Shout out again to Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart, who both not only were making big shots, but you have Josh Hart getting huge rebounds, which is like, I mean, I feel like it should be a drinking game when Josh Hart goes through 3 different guys to like get an offensive board. Like, he's basically Dennis Rodman if Dennis Rodman was 6'4". Like, it's bananas what he's doing. Dante DiVincenzo was awesome again. Nice to see him get back going again. He was the Knicks' second best player pretty much from like mid-February through the end of the regular season, and he was not good outside of the shot in game 2. He was bad for the first 5 games of the Sixer series. He was awesome in game 6, and then he was awesome last night. OG Anunoby, Danny, I know you hated the trade because, again, I know you liked OG, but you didn't want to get rid of quickly. My brother, I'm telling you, this motherfucker is a winner. That dude when the Knicks are making their plays down the stretch, mainly defensively, OG Anunoby's a part of it. Or he's a part of something. He had 2 steals last night and then a defensive stop on Siakam in the midst of what was for them like an 8-0 run, I think, to go from down 3 to up 5. He's awesome. He's incredible. Quick notes for Indiana. We talked about keeping the high pace. I think that is their trump card. If they have more bodies they can play, and that you can at least feel can be effective. And not just like you're not like if sometimes you're playing 10 guys in a playoff game is obviously way too much. But they have the ability to play 10 guys, and like their 10th guy last night just falls into 8 points because that's how they operate. So for them, it can work because of the pace they play at, the craziness, and the way they move the ball when they are on offense. I thought TJ McConnell, nobody could stop his dribble drive game. I loved how they were able to use Obi Toppin and get him in transition, and his 3-point shooting right now has been really effective. The biggest issue right now is Tyrese Halliburton needs to figure his life out. I love Tyrese Halliburton. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's so energetic. It's at the point now where like you're moving and you're quick and you're making plays. I'm not blaming the hamstring for you shooting 6 times in a playoff game. Go down with the ship, brother. Get to your mid-range if you're not trusting your jump shot. You have a nice floater game. Finish in traffic. I understand, like, listen, Halliburton can put pressure on the rim, and he gets that ball swinging, and, dude, the Pacers are better than any, like, they run the best Spain pick and roll action I see in the league because it's so quick and it's deceptive, and you don't know who's going where. And Halliburton, when he gets downhill, he can throw lobs, he can throw corner skips, he can throw, like, blind hook passes to the wing, backside. He can make every pass. But I need you to score. I need you to be the alpha because you are the alpha. This dude was one of the 5 to 6, 7 best players in the league until January when he got hurt. He was that good. And he missed time. He was ineffective to end the season. He's looked like he's had his bounce in the playoffs. So I'm not blaming anything on this injury because you're moving well. You're flying around like a maniac, which is what you are. And he is the cognizant of why their offense is crazy because that, not just what we just talked about there, but even with other guys, Nesmith and Nembhard and Siakam and Turner and guys off the bench like McConnell and Toppin and you can name any of them, Shepard, Jackson. I'm missing the other guy that plays, but like Jesus Louise, they have so many dudes that just do so much. And that ball is zipping from sideline to sideline. They're driving and kicking. It's crazy. But Halliburton has to be the alpha. He just does. That's their way to win these games. He has to be the guy. Because his scoring would take him over the top. And I'm tired of watching him shoot 6 times in a playoff game. I'm just sick of it. So we'll see. Okay. That was fun. The Knicks never play bad games, man. You already to talk about why we're really here today? Who stayed up late for this? Because I did. Minnesota 106, Denver 80. I've been thinking all day on the path I want to start down, and I feel like I'm just going to go. We're not going to talk X's and O's because in this game, it's irrelevant. We're not going to talk about certain performances and talk about, listen, the theme of this team lately has been a lot of things, but mainly it has been the surgical, like, euphoric rise of an all-timer in Anthony Edwards. And he was good last night. And the cool stuff about him is Edwards was probably the 4th best player, in my opinion, for the Wolves. And there were still like 5 things that he did that nobody else in the league can do because that's how awesome he is. But to really get a grasp on what transpired, you have to go piece by piece and break down every segment of this game because the prefix to the suffix of the result, the prefix of it is the Minnesota Timberwolves last night went into Denver's house, who the defending champions of the world, who currently employ the best player alive, no doubt about it, one of already maybe the 20 greatest players ever, about to win his 3rd MVP, knocking on the door of historical greatness. This Minnesota team went into their house in a game that was must win, and they stole their soul, and it took them less than a quarter to do it. Here's how. So I want to note the first thing, Rudy Gobert did not play last night. Congratulations to him on the birth of his first child. He did not play. So Kyle Anderson inserted into the starting lineup. So they keep Naz Reid off the bench. Monte Morris got a little bit of a bump in minutes last night in their early rotations. I thought Karl Anthony Towns, we talked about tone setting, right? That's what the Timberwolves have done such a great job of. I don't think anybody in the league sets a better tone than the Timberwolves of like we're fucking here, dude. Like I said last night, what I said was like when I talk about this Timberwolves team, I'm not trying to say stuff to be cool. This team walks around and they are coming at you. They want your territory. They want what you have. Like Anthony Edwards is saying in the post-game press conference, they're in their huddles and Coach Fitch is saying, expect a punch. And Anthony Edwards is like, well, we're going to fucking punch too. And that's what this team's entire identity is. I personally love it. But I'm just saying, like, that's how this team is built. That's how they operate. This team sets a tone better than any team, honestly, maybe I've ever seen in my life. I swear to God. And last night, it was Karl Anthony Towns on offense, getting matchups, getting to his spots, and the Minnesota defense being assholes, hounding from the moment the ball was jumped. And it set a tone. And Aaron Gordon had a fantastic first quarter, but it didn't matter. We're going to go through bit by bit. I thought last night, the Wolves, in game 1, they did not double Nikola Jokic. Rarely ever. Now, they changed it up. They would have Cat guard him. They'd have to pull him because Cat had foul trouble. So then they'd have Naz guard him. They would have Rudy guard him. They would flash double at times. Last night, they noticed, like they had a feeling that the Nuggets were going to try to go through Jokic early, considering how bad Murray played in game 1, and the Wolves doubled him almost every trip. And what I thought early on is they're doubling Jokic, and he does what he does. He'll skip it. He'll find the perfect guy next pass. But the Minnesota rotations are so good and so crisp. It is teach tape. For coaches out there, if you're coaching in high school or college or wherever, put on Minnesota games and just look at their rotations. It's no NBA team can match their length and their physicality and their strength and their width and how they are just so physical. But you can teach their rotations, the old defense playing on a string, because what that was perfect. And they did it constantly. I thought another thing that they did perfect was, we talked about how Murray's ailing and Minnesota's picking him up full court, just making him work. There's a stat out there, and I don't know if it was live or just historic, whatever it was, but Nikola Jokic Nikola Jokic, when the Nuggets have Nikola Jokic bring the ball up, their points per possession is at a very high clip. Now, people probably wonder, why is that? Well, he kind of gets to survey. You let him bring it down. He's in his pace. He also kind of has this pace where he'll speed you up to try to get the defense off kilter. And then once he gets into Once he starts getting things in that first handoff, everyone's moving like crazy. The ball gets back to him. It's boom, boom, bang, bang. The ball's in the net and the crowd's going nuts. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? What Minnesota is doing is they're making sure that somebody is back there to rough him up in the backcourt. And then Cat or whoever's guarding him, in this game it was Cat, he is meeting Jokic at half court. And not only was he doing that when Jokic was bringing the ball up, but he's doing that when Jokic doesn't have the ball. Cat is in his ass. Jokic gets to half court, Cat's there to body him. It is like kind of what the Pacers are doing with a full court press, but it is certain guys doing it. Just a reminder, like, yeah, we're here and we're in your grill. They continue to double Jokic. I thought they did a great job of, again, rotations. Jokic caught the ball at one point in the pinch post. He throws it up top to Jamal, who like has to, he double pumps, doesn't get it off. He drove, kicked it into the corner. Beautiful rotations, and just they force misses and they rebound. Okay, let me take another sip here of the Chalice of Supremacy, because this is where shit gets weird. Three minutes and 53 seconds left in the first quarter. The score at the time is 18-17. Now, granted, context, Jokic hadn't made a shot yet. Or no, I think he might have made a little floater, but like Murray still hadn't got it going. Aaron Gordon was on fire. He had 13, I believe, of their 17 points. He hadn't missed a shot. It's 18-17. Karl Towns gets the ball mid-post. Or no, he gets it on the wing. And Jamal Murray hacks him 2 or 3 times, and they don't call it. And then all of a sudden, Cat kind of bulldozes him, and he lays it in. Crowd's losing their shit. Jamal Murray's on the ground like, what the fuck? The Nuggets start at that moment. You can kind of see that the foundation is starting to, like, we're having issues. Like, it stormed this morning, right? Like, the basement might be flooded a little bit. You know, it's not like it's not, you know, completely underwater, but there's a couple spots of water on the ground. We're having some issues, right? So that's with 3:53 left in the first quarter. Nuggets are officially in, okay, they're a little frazzled moment. Next possession for the Wolves after forcing a miss. By the way, this is a big shot in the game. Gordon hasn't missed a shot yet. He gets a wide-ass open right-wing three, misses it. If he hits it and ties the game, what happens? Who never knows? Maybe a little sliding doors moment. Anywho, down the floor, 3:21 left. Anthony Edwards comes off of a screen. He's met in midair by KCP, who took off from the restricted area, and he lays it in. They call timeout, and Michael Malone goes berserk. He runs down the ref and is in his face. And listen, I don't know if before he came out, he told an assistant, like, hey, make sure you hold me back. Like, the hold me back guy for the Nuggets needs a raise after last night. I'm just saying, like, that guy deserves double pay. Malone runs out, is screaming at this ref, like, coming at him like he is about to punch Mark Davis, the official, in the face for calling this call, which wasn't even a foul. And even if you are bitching about the other play where Cat bulldozes Murray fouled him like 3 times. They're not going to call it on him. They're certainly not going to call Cat for being big and running through his chest. So this is the official point, and I put it in my notes here. Denver has become the 52 cards in a game of 52 card pickup. The cards are all over the floor. The deck is loose. Everybody is losing their minds. Chaos is it's at the point where we're not, like, the asteroid hasn't hit Earth yet, but we have told people that there is an asteroid imminent and everyone's losing their shit. So just an instance here of showing how messed up this team was and how out of it they were. A couple possessions later, they get a fast break, and it's like a 3-on-3, 3-on-2. They hit Michael Porter on the wing. He's got Jokic on a rim run with Kyle Anderson on him, And Porter, like, this is easy. You get it to Jokic at like the free throw line. He does a little herky-jerky spin, lays it in, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. There you go. Crowd gets a little fun moment. Here's some life. Instead, Porter throws the pass at the front hand of Anderson. It's a turnover, leads to a 2-on-1 the other way. Nickeil Alexander-Walker lays the ball in. We talked earlier, too, about, like, okay, I'm going to chart. I charted some of these defensive possessions by the Wolves because they are mean. They get the ball to Jokic next possession in the high post. He has it on the left wing. Or left elbow, excuse me. No. Left elbow, extended, top of the key. Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray are trying to set a kind of a split action. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Monte Morris, they are not being screened. They don't get screened. They switch it perfectly. They come off. Jokic has to do, like, nobody's open. So Jokic has to go to work himself. Naz Reid gets in a stance. The shot clock goes off while Jokic is backing down, and he just throws the ball over his head at the backboard. They are out of it. It's 24-17. They then eventually, the first time all game, a double team leads to a bucket. It gives a corner three. I put down Peyton Watson. I think it was Justin Holiday. Who cares? 24-20. Next trip down, Jokic is doubled again. Gets it to Reggie Jackson on a drive. Turns into a contested layup. Another run out. Monte Morris gets a layup. Another double. Turns into a Nickeil Alexander-Walker block on a I think another backdoor pass. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was superb last night, comes over, blocks it, run out. Monte Morris, open left wing three. By the way, the team that is better in transition is Denver, because that's just the style they play. Not that the Wolves can't run, they have freak athletes, but, like, that's just the style. Notice a lot of these plays I'm talking about is the Wolves beating Denver's ass down the floor and getting whatever they want. So they get a block, they push it. Monte Morris, left wing three, misses. Nobody blocks out slow-mo. Kyle Anderson tips it in, 28-20. That's the end of the first quarter. So they end the quarter scoring 4 straight. At this point, it's, if you're partially thinking, well, we've had a couple moments of, oh shit. We've had a couple of moments where it's like, Malone loses his cookies. Maybe you can rally if you start hitting some shots. Second quarter starts, Jamal Murray off-ball foul where he kind of just trucks someone, and he's bitching. Jamal Murray has gone full Section 8 almost. Jamal Murray is gone. He is in La La Land. They come out of the timeout, or they come off the dead ball. Naz Reid pick and pop, 3, 31-20. Next possession, Cat gets a floater. They're up 13. So they score 4 straight to end the quarter. They then come and get 5 straight points in the blink of an eye to start the third. Second, they're up 13. 10-9. A next possession for the Nuggets. Jamal Murray gets switched. He drives on Naz Reid, and Naz Reid little boys him and sends it into the front row. Murray's on the ground, looks up, and he's complaining. And then we get to the point where this is the play of the game, in my opinion. This is where if this series does not turn, this is the moment right here where the defending champions run ended. And we can maybe in 2 years, if they never get close again, can look at this moment and say this right here is where the Denver Nuggets, this version of the Denver Nuggets cease to exist. They force a miss, 10-19 left in the second quarter. Jamal Murray brings the ball up the floor. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is hounding him up the floor. And Jamal Murray is just trying to lean into him and put his arm out. He's on his knees begging. He's praying. He's pleading. Please call a foul and bail me out of the fact that I cannot get separation. He gets across half court. Jaden McDaniels is hounding him. Murray has nowhere to go. He finally gets rid of it. McDaniels comes out, clapping in the face of Reggie Jackson. Jackson gets it back to Jamal Murray, who's barely towing half court because, again, the Wolves' pressure and physicality. They are in Denver's ass. Pause. Every single possession. Murray can't get free. He tries to go through a ball screen. Jaden McDaniels, who is becoming him and Lou Dort are first team, not just all defense, but first team, you're never going to screen me. He doesn't get screened. Murray pulls up. He's contested, kicks it into the corner. I think it was Holiday or Watson or whoever. Contested by Mike Conley. Little like 6-foot Mike Conley. Shoots a three-pointer that goes off the top of the backboard. This moment right here, the Denver Nuggets, as we know it, vanished. Done, broken. If I didn't have the respect that I did for the team that I have watched last year carve everyone up into pieces, this season be like one of the greatest clutch teams ever, if I didn't have that respect for the Nuggets, I would be here in front of you today saying this series was over, and I would also be here saying to you that the team in white last night is winning the title. I don't care who they play. No one's beating them. But Denver, I am terrified because they do have the best guy in the league. At least we think. Because the guy on the other team, number 5, might be not only ready to rip the belt off of his waist, but he's going to bash him in the skull with it WWF style. Maybe WCW style. They did play the NWO Wolfpack theme last night. Shout out to Card Subject to Change. Next possession on defense, Nickeil Alexander-Walker hounds Aaron Gordon. It leads to another block down the floor. Karl Towns hits a 3. They're up 16. They call timeout. The building is burning. The children are lost pets and children are lost. We've called all of the city workers to help us, but we can't find anything, and everything is ashes. When I feel like saying their soul got stolen is an understatement, because I watched last night one team who wants it, and they physically took it from it's not just they're playing another team. It's not just that they're playing a good team. They are playing the defending champions who employ the no doubt about it apex predator of the National Basketball Association, who is about to win his 3rd MVP in 4 years and is on track to be one of the greatest, not like 30 greatest, 20 greatest, maybe 10 greatest players we've ever seen in our lives. And the team they played, Minnesota in their house, Denver needed to win because they lost game 1. And Minnesota, the team that has not been here before, just beat the shit out of them. The game was over 2 minutes into the second quarter. I've never seen anything like this in my life watching basketball. I watch basketball. I'm 28 years old. I'll be 29 in 2 months. I can remember watching basketball mid-2000s. I remember watching the first couple teams that I really, really remember were the end of the first Shaq Kobe era. You could argue and say this is 04 Pistons-ish with how they play, but I don't know. Maybe I don't remember watching that in the moment. So maybe that's what somebody would compare this to. I compared yesterday Anthony Edwards kind of going on an 06 D Wade run, which is, I think, a fair comparison, but this Wolves team has never been here. And yes, they are being led by a guy who is trying to become an all-timer, and by looks of it, he is en route to doing so. But what they did last night was impressive and terrifying. It was terrifying. They beat the defending champs on their home floor in a game the defending champions had to win like a drum. I can't put that any simpler. And I'm watching it. I am at my girlfriend's house. I'm on the couch. We are sitting there. The game is on. They're up 16 at that point. A 16-point lead then becomes a 19-point lead. A 19-point lead becomes a 20-point lead. At one point in the game, Nikola Jokic, who again mentioned all-timer on the verge of being in the highest elite class in the history of the league. I watched him, the guy who has like the most unstoppable offensive force I've ever seen in my life, get 2 shots blocked and then miss a third putback. I am sitting. If I was standing, I would have collapsed. If I was drinking anything, I would have spit it out. What I was watching last night was one team arriving on the scene and another team getting their lives, their souls, their life, everything they've ever worked for ripped away from him. And it was breathtaking. It was awesome. It was scary. It was like, is this real? Is this happening? It was the most dominant performance I've ever seen in a playoff game, ever. And I watched Luka go into Phoenix and be up by 30 at halftime in a game 7 against a team that won 65 or whatever games. Last night, incredible. We mentioned how, all right, I'm going to end this segment, I'm going to go to 3 different things. 1, how on earth does Denver get back into it? There's only one route. They have to meet physicality with physicality. There's problems to that, which we will now get to now. I guess there's only 2 things. Number 1, they're not deep. Now, granted, their bench is the only reason the game was close in game 1, but Reggie Jackson was like hobbling off the floor last night. Now, granted, they have 3 days off, and by God, if they played tomorrow, I'd be like, yeah, they're cooked. It's over. They're done. But they have 3 days off, so maybe they can like aura the Zen Master or something, and they can kind of figure it out. Like they have a chance for a 72-hour detox, pretty much, to get rid of like one of the most ass-kicking games ever. The biggest issue, though, of all of this is we talked Jokic a lot, and people are laying this at his feet, and he's not been good. And I will say this. The I don't care about basketball kind of approach that he takes, that shit doesn't hit the same when he's not winning, folks. Just going to throw that out there. It's cool and funny when they're kicking everyone's ass and he's like, I want to go see my horses and basketball, it's like a hobby. Hey man, when you lose by 30 on your home floor and get used like a fucking condom, basically, that's how Denver got treated last night. Yeah, the whole I don't care about basketball and nothing motivates me type of thing. Like that approach, buddy, I don't know. Listen, maybe different strokes for different folks, but whatever. Here's what I'm trying to get at. Jamal Murray shouldn't play in game 3. And if he doesn't, I don't see a path. They don't have enough guys against this defense unless Michael Porter hits like 12 threes. But Jamal Murray shouldn't play. He should be suspended. 4:45 left in the first quarter. Jamal Murray, it's worse than I thought. Jamal Murray throws a towel at a ref. Nothing. And then from the bench, Jamal Murray is on the bench. He has committed frustration fouls. He did the money sign, which Rudy Gobert did the money sign and got fined. Let me say this so everyone understands. $100,000 for doing the money sign. That's what Rudy Gobert got suspended for. Oh boy, Jamal Murray, your bank account is about to get busted, my friend. Not only does he do that, he's bitching and moaning to Reggie Miller, Jamal Crawford at the announce table. He's bitching and moaning to his dad. They're fouling too much. They're too physical. Oh my goodness, they're playing so hard. Like we said it. Like the Minnesota Timberwolves are the NBA. They are the team of the NBA who turns everybody into Karens. They made the Phoenix Suns be upset because of how hard they were playing. And last night, Jamal Murray literally was crying to his dad because of how much defense the Wolves were playing. That was the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my life. Ever. from a guy, listen, Jamal Murray's not a superstar. He's in the, who cares about where we rank him, but we understand historically what he is, an all-time clutch NBA player. The bubble, the playoff run last year, the stuff he just did in the first round against the Lakers, all-timer. All of that shit last night got erased from my memory. They're getting their ass kicked. You're their second best player. You're playing like trash. And you're looking at your dad and you're bitching and moaning because the other team's playing harder than you? What the fuck is wrong with you? That is the most pussy shit I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe it. Like, Jamal Murray turned into the soccer mom with the bowed up haircut that said, go get your manager at Whole Foods. Like, I was like, what? Are you serious? Like, this is really happening. That happened in an NBA game. And then not only does he do the money sign, not only is he complaining to his dad because, Dad, the other team's playing too hard and they're grabbing and tugging my jersey. He's on the bench and he throws a heating pad onto the floor. What? I didn't think I'd get this mad about it, but when you sit here and think about it, like, imagine if any, like, people are talking about it today and they're like, yeah, he might get suspended. He might not get suspended. Imagine if somebody with, like, legitimate hierarchy in the league did that. Imagine if Anthony Edwards did that. Imagine if LeBron James did that. We get mad when he just complains to the ref. Luka Doncic, imagine if he did the money thing and then complains, which he does complain. But imagine if then he turned around and threw something on the floor. What? Are you, that happened? It blows my mind that those order of events in an NBA playoff game happened. The money thing, whatever. It's funny. You think the refs are in on it. Whatever. It's cool. But the complaining to the refs is one thing. Asking, looking at Reggie Miller and Jamal Crawford at the announce table and be like, yeah, man, I don't know what's going on. But bitching to your dad, who's sitting courtside, saying, Dad, they're playing too hard, Dad. And then throwing something on the floor? Adam Silver, for the love of integrity, Jamal Murray needs to be suspended. If Jamal Murray plays in game 3, like, you can have an opinion on if he should be suspended or not, but listen to what I just said. That is the order of operations of things that happen. And I'm at the point now where I'm thinking, if you think he should play, you're stupid. Like, no, he should not play in game 3. The league needs to suspend him. And it's not because he complained to his dad. He was on the bench and in the middle of play, threw something onto the court that was potentially aimed for a ref. Oh my God. I think I'm going to have a heart attack just thinking about it. Like, that really happened. And we've kind of, like, people have mentioned it. Tim Legler. Oh my God, Tim Legler, bar of the universe. He said, Murray was 3 for 18. No wonder he missed the ref when he threw the thing at him. That is a bar. Banger. Oh my God. Tim Legler, you're a legend. Oh, that happened. That was an order of how things occurred in an NBA playoff game. Jamal Murray. Dude, I have had so much respect and so much. They're so fun to watch. And for the first time ever, the Nuggets, they were given adversity. The Nuggets, for the first time ever since winning the title last year, like since the start of their run last year, the first time ever, someone pushed back and they crumbled. They folded. They said, the heat is way too high. We're not just getting out of the kitchen. We're not just leaving the house. We're moving to an entire state. That's what they did last night. Last night was the most front-running thing I've ever seen from a sports team. It was embarrassing. The way they acted, the Jamal Murray stuff, man. At least the thing that gives me hope that maybe they're not just going to cave and maybe on Friday they'll show up and not just take it is in the press con. Listen, Jamal Murray didn't speak to the media. That was the smartest thing he's ever done because he only would have dug himself a deeper hole. They haven't announced anything yet. Murray, thank God they have 3 days off. Murray has to be suspended. He has to be suspended for game 3. Like, I don't know how we can sit here and honestly talk about the sport of basketball and think Murray should play. What they, huh? So yeah, that was embarrassing. I've never seen, like, I've called the Golden State Warriors front runners. They've never done that. Now Curry did the whole chuck in the mouthpiece thing, which was bad, but like, and they crumbled in the 3-1 collapse. But at least they never lost like they did yesterday. Like, they never had a moment like that I can think of. And Draymond's had some bad stuff. And what Jamal did last night was not nearly as bad as like Draymond, like trying to injure somebody. But dude, like, they went from a team that we all thought was going to mow down everybody to what happened yesterday. The key thing now is they have 72 hours to figure it out. They have until Friday night in Minneapolis where their season will be on the line. And that place is going to be levitating. And there's a really good chance that the Nuggets are going to be without, honestly, their best bench guy so far in the playoffs and their second best player. Because Jackson was hurt and Murray's probably, if he's not suspended, it will be the league saying we are only doing this. Like, if Jamal Murray's not suspended, that will be Adam Silver. David Stern will suspend him, but Adam Silver, it's not even like his balls are in someone's purse. He just doesn't have balls. So, like, whoever makes that call, like when Silver doesn't suspend Murray, that's basically him telling us, I'm doing this so that hopefully the Nuggets, like, we need competitive series. That's what that will tell me. Otherwise, Jamal Murray should be suspended for game 3. Not asking for the rest of the series. He needs to sit a game because that was Jesus. All right. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk about the games coming tonight. Celtics, Cavs, Thunder, Mavs. Oh, boy. That was fun. We'll be back with a word from our sponsors.
Football season may be over, but for frequency's sake, still has you covered for all your sporting needs. Tune in every Sunday when the best professional wrestling podcast around, Cards Subject to Change, gets you caught up on everything inside the ropes. They won't miss a count with weekly analysis and interviews. More into auto racing? We've got a double dose for you on the track. Tune in to Fast Money with Rod Villagomez each week and win some money with the quickest bets in all of sports. Want more insight from Pit Row? Check out the Green, White, and Checkered podcast where they give their insight on everything happening on and off the track. Need your basketball fix? Points in the Paint has you covered with live shows every other week looking at everything in the association. Backed by popular demand, we have the return of The Payoff Pitch, FFSQC's baseball show, covering you on news around the MLB. If you're missing football, don't fret. Mark and Dan still have you covered in the football lounge. Missing Joe Winkle? Probably not, but he's still here talking sports on Educated Ignorance. Football season might be over, but we've still got you covered. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
For Frequency's Sake is brought to you by Durham Remodeling, serving the Quad City area's remodeling and repair needs since 1973. Clint's Draft House, grab a bite and a pint. 7th Street Moline. Lopez, New York-style pizza served up by the slice or pie, Davenport. Lifted Energy, energy drinks, coffee, donuts, and more. #GetLifted. Atomic Sports Cards and Collectibles. Sports cards and memorabilia, vintage clothing, hats, pennants, and more. Ryan Allison Tattoo. Step into the vibrant world of tattoos with Ryan Allison. And A Cut Above, offering quality custom woodwork designed specifically around our customers.
All days for my producer to not be here, it's the day that I think I top myself more than I've ever done it before. It looks dark in here all of a sudden. It's because it's like bright outside. What if I do that? Oh, now I'm back. I should have done this earlier. Woo, woo, woo. I look good now. All right. Hello, everybody. I have light. At least these towels work. Okay. And do this a little bit. There we go. A little bit better than the darkness and the sadness that you guys were. I mean, it had to be dark there because I kind of eviscerated. Hey, listen, as Nick Wright said, in the case of Jamal Murray, it's been a bad 72 hours for sensitive Canadians. Just saying. At least Jamal Murray wasn't, called, So, okay. All right, let's talk about the games tonight. Game 1, Celtics versus Cavaliers. And Dallas and Oklahoma City. We'll talk about that one here in a second. I need to check. Is Jared Allen playing tonight? Because that, in my opinion, is a pretty big, it's a pretty big deal. It looks like no, he will not be playing. So no Jared Allen tonight, which is important. I think he could have given them, they need as much offense as they can get because they just have not been able to score. This is going to be interesting to see how much Cleveland can hold up with Donovan going nuts. Can Darius Garland kind of figure himself out? Boston's defensive pressure, I feel like, is going to be the key. We saw them once the postseason just kind of lose it and just not play hard, and that was game 2 against Miami, and they got smoked because Miami shot a bunch of threes and they nailed a bunch of threes. I think if they can turn the pressure up, Cleveland doesn't have enough on offense to really give them issues outside of Donovan Mitchell being insane. Even without Porzingis, I think this is a heavily, heavily one-sided matchup. Derek White in round 1. We joke about what Josh Hart is shooting like Steph Curry or Clay. Derek White has been Derek White was like a borderline all-star this year, in my opinion. He's been incredible. He's right now averaging 22 and a half a game. He shot in that first half or in that first series. I need to pull up his shooting splits because they're about to be nuts. 57.7 from the floor, 47.7 from 3, and 90 from the line. So he's almost 60, 50, 90 from the floor. Not bad. 72% from 2. White has been incredible. The Celtics have advantages mainly with their 2 best players, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. The Cavaliers don't have the wings. Now listen, Isaac Okoro was able to play and give problems. He's starting and he has the ability to give some problems for Boston, guarding Tatum tightly, I expect maybe they'll use him to try to pick up Tatum or whoever full court. But at the end of the day, even with them missing Porzingis, you still have Holiday and White who can be guards, who can light up guys who are kind of porous on defense in Mitchell, Strus, and Garland. Without Allen, it does hurt them a bit in the sense of, you're playing the 2 bigs, which I think they are better with the 2 bigs or with the 1 big instead of the 2. But I think Allen, in this sense, they'll miss him because it'll be another defensive presence, and maybe something that you would do would just be like, all right, we're just going to let Al Horford sit in the corner and hope that we can, just maybe live with. Maybe that's what they'll do with Mobley. I don't know. Maybe they'll put Mobley on Tatum. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see how they navigate there. The thing is, though, they don't have the wings. Brown or Tatum, I expect to really control stuff, especially Tatum. I look to see them try to attack the middle of the floor and the mid post with his post touches and let him kind of decide off of that, especially if they try to attack it and see if Mobley's cheating inside. Because if they do play 5 out, then if they do play 5 out and Mobley isn't hunting the rim or hovering, then I don't think anybody on the Cavs can stay in front of guys for Boston. That'll be something I'll be looking forward. And Giroux and Derek White guarding Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland will be interesting. I expect Giroux to start on Donovan Mitchell, and from there, I expect obviously then Derek White to start on Garland, and it'll be interesting to see the Magic against Boston, or the Magic against Cleveland, ran the Cavs off the 3-point line and allowed them to kind of get inside, and that's where Donovan Mitchell kind of torched them. How will the Celtics play that with Donovan? Will they get up on him? Will they allow him to shoot more? It will be interesting to see. Regardless, I think as a series, I'm going to say Boston in 5. I think Donovan probably at some point in this series. I have too much respect for what he can do on the offensive end. I expect one series one game he will light it up and he will carry them to the finish line. Dallas and Oklahoma City. This series is very interesting. I think the Thunder will win the series. But man, Dallas, I feel like they have a lot of stuff that I like. The Luka piece has been great. It is so awesome that Kyrie Irving is playing meaningful, relevant basketball, and he has been awesome. It's so much fun. With all that being said, does Dallas have what it takes to match up with this young Thunder team that is energetic and can do a lot of things? We didn't learn much about Oklahoma City in round 1 because they swept New Orleans, and now they haven't played in 9 days. So tonight will be interesting. So no Maxi Kleber, who I thought maybe could be a huge difference in this series because he has played well and he has hit shots. But I do think the play of Lively, I think Kleber being out sucks for Dallas, but I do believe it'll force them to play Derek Lively more, who I think is really good. How will Chet match up with that? Not that I think Lively's going to score a lot. I think Chet's very good on defense, and the thing that the Mavs torched the Clippers with was pick and roll lobs. They lived at the rim with lobs from Luka and Kyrie. Whoever it was, either of the centers, Gafford or Lively, were catching lobs. PJ Washington, Derek Jones catching lobs. It was kind of hilarious. So I think Chet being back there as the last line of defense will do much better against that than the Clippers did. And then on the offensive end, if they can, like Dallas's rim protection has been something that's been very good since the Gafford edition and the trade deadline. Well, now you have two things. You have Chet who can spread you out, and he's been shooting the ball well. And you also have a team that has SGA, who's one of the best guards, one of the best players in the league, and he's awesome in pick and roll offense, and he attacks and gets inside. So the question now is going to be how's that matchup go? I'm going to learn a lot tonight watching that. And then defensively, I am very intrigued to see in this game the Lou Dort. I think Dort's going to guard Luka because he guarded Ingram. He'll guard the bigger guy. Who starts on Kyrie? Probably Shea. Eventually, you got to think if they're in late game, it's if Giddey's out, they put Cason Wallace in. They put him on him. I think there's also the thing with them right now. Why another element to what makes the Thunder so damn tough to beat is how well they're shooting. They shot well in that first round. Everyone's spraying, and Josh Giddey especially. Giddey being a guy that can be a legitimate offensive weapon kind of puts the Thunder at the ceiling of oh wow, that's very tough to beat. So tonight will be interesting to see how Oklahoma City, who they guard Kyrie with to start, how they try to attack, and how Dallas how they adjust to Chet as a pick and pop guy and a mid post guy, and how they try to guard Shea in the pick and roll. I'm going to be intrigued to see how that works. And then Dallas's offense without that lob threat, it's not like it's going to die because you have Kyrie who can make stuff happen. You have Luka who can make stuff happen. PJ Washington could be a very huge swing guy in this series because I've loved a lot of what he's done for Dallas since they got him. He just makes a lot of really good plays. He's timely in where he gets to timely spots on offense, and whether it's big shots they need him in the corner, he'll flash to get easy looks inside. And you got to think too, he's probably going to be guarding Jalen Williams, which will be very, very important because Williams has been really good. This could be a big Jalen Williams series too. I'm excited to see J-Dub on this stage as well. We already know what Shea is as like a top 5 guy, top 6 guy. Jalen Williams has a chance to really bust in like to that top 20-ish range, top 25. Like, hey, he's a legitimate dude, fringe all-star type level guy. He was a fringe all-star in my opinion this year. You could have put him on the all-star team, and I don't think many people would have been mad. So it'll be fun to see that. All right. That was fun. Another hour in the books. We did a great tasty jam on the Denver Nuggets. Well, I'm going to try to make somebody post that tomorrow. We're not going to be on tomorrow, so maybe we can rerun that little 30 minutes. That was fun. And we will be back Thursday for reviewing game 2 of Knicks Sixers, or Jesus Christ. Game 2 of Knicks Pacers is Wednesday. So we'll be reviewing that, and then we will be previewing game 2, kind of going off of what we learned in game 1 and previewing game 2 of Celtics, Cavs, Mavs, Thunder, probably a shorter show Thursday. And then Friday will be full reviews of games 2, some potential swing moments in those games. And then we have big game 3s in Pacers, Knicks, and Minnesota, Denver. So big Thursday and Friday shows coming. We'll be off tomorrow. I want to thank everybody that hung out with us today. Thanks everyone to like. We had some likes on this video. We really appreciate that. Go follow our socials. We post some stuff there throughout the week as well. We really appreciate it as well. And thank you our sponsors, Durham Remodeling, Ryan Allison Tattoo, and Jared Zook Country Financial. We thank everybody. We appreciate all of them. Thank you all for hanging out with us. This has been the Educated Ignorance Podcast. I've been Joe Winkle. If you ain't got your game, you best pass the sticks. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Enjoy the basketball tonight and tomorrow. We'll see you guys in 48 hours. Less than 48 hours. About 46 and a half hours. Shout out to Around the Horn. We'll see you guys then. We're out. Have a good night.